welcome you into another edition of the Roy's Boys podcast. Going to break down tonight's disappointing loss to Kentucky and Chicago in the CBS Sports Classic. I'm joined as always as my co-host Anthony. We watched the game together, so we'll start off with you and get your initial reactions to the 80-72 defeat today.
Well, first, I want to react to your opening. That's the most enthusiastic opening that I've heard so far on the show. I don't think it's because you are enthusiastically happy. I think it's the enthusiastic anger.
I'm ready to vent.
Yeah, it is not the game that we were hoping for sure. A lot of frustrating things from these guys, and there were some things that we did well against Gonzaga that were nowhere to be found tonight. I didn't like the way that we played offensively at all. I don't understand why certain guys weren't shooting the basketball, but I'll let you hone in on one in specific that you were repeatedly saying needed the ball in his hands, and I agree with. But yeah, no, overall, defensively, just so many things that need to be corrected. And that just continues to be, I think, one of the main things that remains a problem with this team. But again, a loss to a Kentucky team that was preseason ranked number 2 in the country. Look, this Kentucky team has some talent. I'm not saying that. Do I think overall they were the better team on the court tonight? No, I don't think so. By the end of the season, I don't think that'll be true. But we didn't play the way we were supposed to play tonight. Turned the ball over way too much. Kobe White looked like a freshman, plain and simple. And really at this point, I saw Ross Martin tweet this out earlier today. We don't have a dominant big man on the inside. And that's one thing that when we've been at our best, we've had a dominant guy inside. That's just not there right now, and I think that is really hurting this team.
Yeah, I thought we started the game a little like we haven't played in a week. We took some bad shots. We were slow rotations on defense, didn't get back early.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some turnovers that I thought, okay, over the course of the game, we'll just iron out. And that just simply wasn't the case. Same thing with Gonzaga. We came out, and we're struggling to make a 2 to 3 foot bounce pass. It's just bad passes. They're just stupid. I don't know whether to say it, because if there's a guy there and he's denying the ball, why are you going to try to force the thing?
Yeah.
He's going to see it out of the corner of his eye and make a play, and they're going to get a run out, and then Roy's going to get pissed, and then I'm going to get pissed. And
I think the difference from Gonzaga, though, and they had a couple of them that were up top, but most of them were simply just trying to force the ball inside, in the paint. In particular, the one that I think just made me want to go through a window was the one where, who was it? I think it was it Kobe White that tried to force it into Luke May, who was double teamed, with a wide open Nazir Little. Literally no one anywhere near him. And instead of giving him the basketball, we're trying to force it inside. I don't even know how to explain that. It's like you said, if it's not there, or in some of these situations, it's just lazy passing where you've got to anticipate that these guys are going to be able to make a play on the ball. And they just didn't do that tonight. And this is, I'm going to be really honest with you, this is the worst that I've seen it from Kobe White, was tonight, where he just did not seem to have any awareness of where guys were on the floor. And yeah, there were a few times where he made some passes where you're just kind of sitting there saying to yourself, well, he's a freshman, so this shouldn't shock us. But,
and you're right. Tonight was probably as good a night as any where you looked at Kobe, who I've thought since Las Vegas has played about as good as he's played all year.
Mm-hmm.
He's been confident with the ball, with his shot, taking better shots and getting better defensively. Tonight, I thought his shot selection was poor. He didn't guard the ball as good as I'd want him to guard the ball, and his passing simply struggled. But, you look at this team in the first half. I tweeted it out at halftime. Luke May was our best player in the first half, and that wasn't saying a whole lot because he only had 9 and 3, and 5 of those points came in like a 30-second span. So, all in all, the first half, I thought this team struggled. I did not, for the the life of me understand why Cam Johnson wasn't aggressive from the word go. You had a great game
Right.
against Gonzaga.
Yep.
You have the length. And here's my thing. I've been on him to saying, hey, when you get inside, use your length and take some easier jump shots. He has the ability to take the ball from the wing and get inside because he's so long.
Mm-hmm.
But he's always either looking to pass. I want you to look to score. I think when he's being aggressive, this team is going to be at their best. He's our best scorer on the team. And sure enough, when he shot the stupid thing, what happened? He was making it. So I didn't quite understand why we had passive Cam Johnson and not the Cam Johnson who the last time he walked on the court was 6 of 8 from 3 and scored 25. That's one thing that and I know I complained about the whole game. It just baffled me.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't understand. I mean, he's the best shooter on the team. You're right about that. The thing is, okay, we're not asking him to take horrible shots. We're not saying to go isolation because, let's be real, that's not his game. He's a catch-and-shoot type of guy. But there were a few times where he caught and had a chance to shoot, but instead decided to take a dribble and then pass it back out. You got to be aggressive with the ball. You're a senior leader on this team, and right now you're the guy that is playing the best in terms of shooting the basketball. I don't understand why he's so hesitant. And you look at, we're looking at the stats right here. He shot pretty well. Luke May didn't shoot that bad either. And I thought, maybe a few more three-point attempts from him wouldn't have been the worst thing either. Those were some of the shots that were effective throughout the night, believe it or not. For once, putting the ball inside was not working. And the one time that we decide, let's put the ball inside over and over again, we do it on the night where we're not having success with it. So, it's definitely frustrating. But, and the one at the end of the game, I think, is another area where you kind of just scratch your head, where you got Luke May taking a shot from way downtown. Look, if you got to take that shot, first of all, you're down 6. There were still 24 seconds to go. If you have to try to pass it up one more time, take about maybe 3 or 4 seconds off the clock to find a better look than that, to try to cut it to 3, I'm going to be really honest with you. I can live with that. But instead, he takes that shot. The one that I would have wanted taking that shot, if we had to take that shot, is Cam Johnson.
Right. So,
and he didn't take that shot. Instead, Luke May has to take the shot. So, yeah, it's definitely things like that are frustrating. And then, the main thing that was just driving me nuts is how just poorly, I don't even know how to describe how angry I am about the rebounding. The rebounding was terrible. Plain and simple. Could not rebound on the glass. Garrison Brooks had 8 rebounds to lead this team. And remember, he didn't play most of the first half.
Yeah, Kentucky outboarded Carolina 43-33. And, that's, when I look at the stat sheet after the game, regardless of whether we won the game or lost the game, the first thing I look at, I don't look at field goal percentage. I don't even look at turnovers or free throws. How many times did we rebound the ball? 33 for this team, as important as it is to this program, is embarrassing. We talked about in the preview that they were going to have to be big inside because when P.J. Washington plays to his capabilities, they're really good. And Reed Travis waited until today to look like the kind of player Kentucky thought they were getting when he transferred in over the offseason. That everyone, thought with his presence in the lineup, they'd be the favorite to win the national championship. But I'm with you. I was disappointed with the effort. I thought we were soft inside. Look, no disrespect to Brandon Huffman, but when he's in the game getting meaningful minutes, that means you're always unhappy with what he's getting from Garrison and Manley. And Manley started out okay. He had 3 quick rebounds and was being active, and then all of a sudden it was just we got lazy Sterling again.
He had within the first, I would say, 2 minutes of the game, or 2 minutes of his game when he was in the ball game, he had those 3 rebounds. I don't have the numbers because for some reason ESPN is about as slow as Virginia's offense with putting in the minutes for the game. I would like to see how many minutes he ended up playing because after that, he didn't do. I mean, he was nowhere to be found on the glass. So yeah, and I'm with you. You knew when Brandon Huffman comes in the game. First of all, when you see extended minutes from Brandon Robinson and Andrew Platek, and then Brandon Huffman enters the game, that's when you know that Roy is just searching for anything. I didn't think, especially in the first half, I thought the effort level was, I'm going to be real honest, half-ass at best. They didn't seem interested in playing, and I don't understand why. You came out with such fire in the game against Gonzaga, and then in this game it just wasn't there. And I'll give it to them. They picked it up in the second half, but, look, you can't say that you're tired. You had a week off. So, it's just, again, another one of those games where you had a half that was terrible and you had a half that was decent. Now, they didn't play at the top of their game like we've seen in some halves this year, but still, it needs to become a more consistent effort from these guys if you want to win these types of games. Because, look, if you think these types of games are going away, I don't know what to tell you. You're going into the ACC. This is going to be an every night thing in the ACC. So, man.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're going to get to the part that I didn't want to talk about and that it's going to be hard for me to talk about. You got to give Kentucky a lot of credit. They looked like the team we expected to see from the opening night against Duke. Keldon Johnson was sensational again. Tyler Hero was making threes that some were guarding and some we just didn't simply guard them. I thought Ashton Hagans, for some reason, he turned his ankle, started playing better. Made no sense to me, but that's just how it works. He went into the locker room, maybe got some of Michael Jordan's, magic potion or whatever, like he has in God, what's the movie?
Oh man, I'm blanking here.
Space Jam, because all of a sudden he was capable, was moving, was being effective defensively, and this, that, and the other. So. Definitely didn't want to talk about how well Kentucky played, but I mean, you look at the numbers. They only shot 44% from the field. A team like that, when you want to, 44 is not great, but it's not bad.
Right.
They didn't shoot great from three, and they didn't struggle from the foul line. They simply kicked our ass on the rebounding, and ultimately that was the big difference in tonight's ball game.
Right, and the other thing that I really just didn't understand from our perspective was doubling the ball so much. We saw it a few times in the first half. Really, I think it was 2 or 3 times within about 5 or 6 possessions from Luke May where he got caught over helping and left his man open. Now, one of them was on, he ended up having to pick up a player because someone else wasn't there to pick up their guy. At this point, I cannot believe I'm actually going to say this. And this might end this podcast right here. Mark from Gastonia actually brought up a solid point. Is it time for Roy to start going more zone with this defense? Because these guys they repeatedly get beat. And they just don't seem to be picking up on what's going on at this time. That's a question to you. Do you think that maybe going a little more zone heavy would help?
Yes. I've always thought that because we've had problems the last couple years defending the ball, staying in front of the ball, that if you put us in zone, it'll help mask our deficiencies on the perimeter defensively. But I understand that, and then this is what made Dean Smith so good, because he would already made this adjustment where Roy's just going to say, I'm hard-headed, and by God, either we're going to learn to play defense or we're going to get beat. And hopefully he keeps plugging, and at some point it just clicks.
Right.
He went zone today. And the first possession, they got They got the ball where you want to get the ball in the zone, which is in the soft spot in the middle, and Kentucky got an easy jumper. Then we had, I think, 2 or 3 possessions where we got stops. People were like, well, why don't you stay in it? Well, basketball is a game of rhythm and flow. So now you've already changed that. If you get back in the man-to-man, who knows? It might have caused something. Now, I understand these fans that once we started getting beat again, why not go back to it? Well, that's just not who we are. He's not ready to commit yet to playing the zone. Duke last year didn't commit to it until after our game and Chapel Hill before they extensively played zone defense. So that is something that I think we can discuss moving forward. I do think, for the first time in his life, MFG's brought up a valid point. I'll give him props for that. But I don't think next week against Davidson, this team's going to be out here looking like Jim Boeheim.
Right. No. And that's not what I want to go to by any means. Of course, man-to-man will still definitely be a part of what we run. But I would like to see, look, if they start scoring on 5 or 6 straight possessions, let's go to a zone defense and try to adjust, because this is nothing on Roy. These guys are young, and right now they just don't seem to be picking up the man-to-man concept as easily as some of the teams in the past. We've seen it, and I'm going to tell you, I saw it all over Twitter, and I couldn't agree more at this point. We are missing Theo Pinson so much right now. I don't think we realized how important Theo Pinson was to this basketball team until now. We knew last year going into the tournament that he was important. To be really honest with you, and this might blow people's minds, the biggest loss from last year's team right now might be Theo Pinson over Joel Berry.
Oh, I'd agree, because Theo was a guy that, when he walked on the court for 40 minutes, he was going to give it his all. And he was going to, we saw in the Duke game last year, he's throwing his hip into Marvin Bagley, like, not a favorable matchup for him. His length defensively, just his activity and his willingness to defend is hurting this team. We're not as versatile as I thought we could be defensively with our length. Cam is a slow-footed defender, and his length for some reason doesn't make up for it. But I'm with you. I think, and Roy said it all offseason leading up to the season. Look, we're gaining more talent in a Kobe White, Nazir Little, and Leaky Black, but we're losing a lot of the stuff you can't teach in Joel Berry and Theo Pinson, which is heart and effort. And that, at some point, hopefully it just clicks for these guys. We're going to transition into a little bit as we've opened up to the fans, and this one fan's telling me that it's time to put Kenny Williams on the bench and start Kobe White off the ball and make Seventh Woods the point guard. What are your thoughts of that? Because I don't think Kenny's killing you enough defensively to warrant benching him, and he's a good enough shooter that once it just breaks, he'll be okay.
I mean, there's a few different factors to this. We'll start with just focusing on Kenny Williams. It's like you said. First of all, he's still a good defender. I mean, there's no denying that. So far this year, I don't think he's been quite as good as he's been in the past. But if we're being real honest, he's still the best defender on this team. So even if that's not saying much in most people's minds, which if you think that Kenny Williams is a bad defender, you don't watch basketball. That's pretty much what I think. You look at what else he brings to the floor. Just look at tonight. 6 rebounds. Telling me Kobe White's going to get 6 rebounds? I don't think so. How about the fact that he had 5 assists? More than either one of the guys that you just listed tonight. So I don't see how you can take a guy like that out of the game. A guy on the offensive end that's really been one of the only guys that's effective when driving the basket so far this season. I wish he would just do that more often. But no, you cannot take a senior leader out of the lineup. And what from Kobe White has shown you that he can be a stud off the ball? Because that's what he would have to be if he's in that if he's in that 4 spot.
Well, here's the thing. Their thinking is you free him up, He's not using much energy. He comes off ball screens, this, that, and the other. Here's the problem. That's a great idea. Watch him and watch when he scores.
Right.
He's a modern point guard, which means to score the ball, he has to dominate the ball. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
But he's not Marcus Page, who you could put Joel Berry at the one and let Marcus run around and come off screens and do this.
Why did I say the 4? No, the 2.
Yeah.
The
so
2.
that's the problem.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree with that.
Now, would I like to see more of the lineups of Seventh and Kobe? Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that on the floor.
Because Seventh hasn't had as many problems handling the ball. We saw it early tonight in the second half where Kobe came out, had a couple of bad turnovers, and sure enough, Roy yanked his rear end because, look, this is a big-time game. This isn't a time, you're going to learn by sitting on the bench.
Right.
So, I'm not saying, look, I like Kenny Williams. At some point, his shot's going to go in the basket because he's too good of a shooter for it not to. He's defending still good enough to warrant him starting. So, I don't want him on the bench, but I would be a fan of seeing more Sevenths and Kobe, and letting Kobe learn to play without the ball for a little bit as the season grows long. Is there anything in Twitter that you've gotten that you want to discuss yet from some of these fans that are thinking the world's over and it's time for Roy Williams to be fired?
I mean, I got 2 other ones that were sent in. Jason Schneider at J Bird the Man on Twitter. He says too many turnovers that weren't forced by the Wildcats. That needs to be addressed. Couldn't agree more with that. We saw that multiple times tonight where the ball was put inside and simply just wasn't handled by our guys. The one that I think had us most frustrated, great play by Kobe White to get it inside to Luke May. Luke with a perfect pass right to Cam Johnson, and Cam just couldn't handle it. But we've seen that from everybody.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those things that you just kind of scratch your head and say, how is this happening over and over again? And I agree. That's something that you definitely got to work on. We got to be more sure-handed because, opportunities like that end up becoming, as Ron Rivera likes to say, missed opportunities. They're going to come back to bite you. And we saw that late in the game. If you hit a couple of those baskets, we're talking about a tied game instead of trailing by 6. So I agree with that. And then, one of the absolute classics in Tar Heel Nation, or I guess you would say an absolute classic in Tar Heel Nation, BHUNC fan says, will Roy I can't even read what he's saying. Will Roy ever be able to recruit at the level of Kentucky and Duke? Hey, dumbass. Who out of those 3 teams right there, you tell me who was the last one to win a national championship? Also, I'd advise you to check the NBA draft rankings because as of right now, most of the mock drafts have both Nazir Little and Kobe White, true freshmen, that will be drafted in the top 15. So, I don't know what to tell you on that one there, bud. That is... You continue to say recruiting hasn't worked out. I mean, couldn't be further from a valid point.
Yeah, I'll respond to the guy about turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. Completely agree. The good thing that we hope is this is a correctable issue with the team. There's some things that you can't correct with your team. Whether it's just you're not as athletic, you're not as tall, this, that, and the other. But you can correct the dumb turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem and the frustration with us fans is we thought after Gonzaga, they didn't have exams this week. They had a pretty much, a lot of time to get in the gym and practice. That would kind of lessen itself going into tonight's game, and it didn't. Good thing is they'll go home for the holidays and hope they have a Merry Christmas. When they get back on campus the 27th, it's time to get back to work, and that's something that they're not good enough to turn the ball over at that high a rate this year.
Right.
And so I think there'll be more focus on that. And look, stress, a lot of it is just when you receive the ball, you got to be strong with it.
Right.
You go in there with this pansy crap against a team with the athletes that Kentucky has, they're going to take it away from you. So we got to get more aggressive and understand that, look, that ball is everything when it's in your hands, protected at all costs, and hopefully that number will lessen. To the guy that complained about recruiting, the guy has me blocked on Twitter because he doesn't like when I speak the facts. Look, we're never going to recruit.
That's an accomplishment, by the way. He doesn't block anybody usually.
Yeah, I'm blocked. I've been blocked.
Good for you.
We're never going to recruit like Duke of Kentucky, not because we can't, but because Roy Williams isn't going to run the program like a NBA factory. If you don't understand that by now, I don't know what to tell you, because he's come out and said we're never going to be that kind of program. Does he want the kind of talent? Yeah. But we're not going to bring in a starting 5 every year. He'll recruit a couple, bring them in, but also bring in guys that knows going to have 3 to 4 years, because 9 times out of 10, experience wins in March. And I don't know about you. Look, I'm pissed about tonight's loss.
Right.
More because of the opponent that we lost to. I hate the program.
I also am pissed because I really just don't think that Kentucky is really as good as people will start to think they are after they beat us tonight.
Well, the good thing is when they match up with the Tennessee or someone like that, or Mississippi State in the SEC, we'll get a better feeling. But look,
right.
If this team's playing in Minneapolis come next April, I'm not going to be mad about a loss to Kentucky in the end of December. So,
yeah, exactly. Perspective is everything, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You are right about that.
These losses suck because this is a big-time atmosphere. We fall to 3-2 in the CBS Sports Classics. Unfortunately, both losses have come to Kentucky.
Remember the last time we lost to them? No, that's all right.
We won a national championship.
Yep. You never know.
Is there anything else on Twitter we want to get into?
I have not seen anything, but we want to thank you guys for interacting for sure. The guy that sent in the thing about Kenny Williams, by the way, Jimmy Franklin on Twitter. Thanks for hitting us up, man. We appreciate you guys sending that stuff in. A couple of good points, one terrible point, but you know what? I guess we're gonna have to sift through those as we go through. What does this show come to? We are yelling and screaming about the Tar Heels. I think we questioned Roy Williams somewhere in there about the zone defense, and Mark from Gastonia has been credited as being right. Wow, Kentucky. Credit to you. You've done this to this podcast.
Yeah, they've sent a number on myself, yourself, and Twitter's self.
My gosh. But I'm with you on, and I think, there are a good amount of Tar Heel fans. It's good to see tonight that a lot of people are saying, look, this is a loss to a ranked opponent, a team that, let's be real honest, you said it in the preview. This is a team that I don't think anybody would be shocked if in March this team's making a little bit of a run. We've been here before with them. But, of course you wanted to win tonight. Of course, after the game against Gonzaga, you were kind of feeling like, man, we finally got some momentum going back in the right direction. It feels like we're the better team on paper against these guys. We should come out and win. But, the main thing is look, I think these next 2 games are going to be huge for us because we're going to be able to, I'm not saying you can't take either one of these teams lightly, and we'll talk about them when we break these games down. But, clearly you're not playing the same level of competition that you've been playing for basically the last month, where just about every game is a ranked opponent.
Right.
So, it'll be a little bit of a breather. Hopefully the game against Davidson, who has had some injury issues, will be a chance to potentially get a little bit of, I'm not going to say rest for the starters. They'll probably be in there for a little bit of time because, as we know, Davidson always plays us tough. But it'll be a chance to play an opponent that we are better than for sure on paper. And it'll give us a chance, hopefully, to get a little bit of confidence back underneath us before we head into ACC play.
Yeah, I'm with you. The games against Davidson and Harvard, they only hurt you if you lose the game. So these are another time for 40 minutes for us to go out, get better, fix the turnovers, get more aggressive rebounding, this, that, and the other. I mean, like I said, I hope these guys have a great time with their families while they're home for the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
But when they come back for on January or December 27th, look, it's go time. We got to start getting ready and getting better because conference play is right around the corner. And sure enough, March is here. And we got to start preparing ourselves. That's the good thing about today. As bad as it is losing, hopefully at some point, whether it's a game on the road in the ACC or a game in the tournament, we remember this kind of game and we draw from it and we find a way to win the game. So I do want to mention that we did have another reply on Twitter from our guy, BJ Davis, a guy who's normally has his thoughts that are very strongly opinion. And I'm not going to disagree with what he said, that Kenny's got to get better. But look,
I agree with that.
I do believe Kenny will get better. The thing with Nazir, we'll touch on this quickly because I've seen that a lot of the other national guys are freaking out again because he had another bad game. And, of course, they're blaming Roy Williams. Well, it's not Roy Williams' fault when he gets in the game.
How are we blaming Roy Williams? No offense. The kid, I'm going to be really honest with you right now. If I was an NBA franchise, the way he is playing, if you just showed me this guy and told me nothing about any of his upside, I would tell you on paper right now, kid is not a first-round player. He's not. What has he done that's been so great? You tell me what he's done to this point that's been great. Okay, he's an athlete. Congratulations. So is Theo Pinson. I mean, right now, look, and this is nothing personal against Nazir. I am just sick and tired of hearing this from this fan base that they think that this guy is some superstar. When he's been out there, he has not been great. If you can't admit that to yourself, you need help. He is not aggressive driving the basket, which is what he did in high school that made him so effective. His jump shot has not looked great so far this year. He is having trouble adjusting to some of the defensive looks that he is seeing from college defenders. I mean, am I wrong in any of this that I'm saying right now?
No, you're not wrong because I get people from the fans on Twitter where you're a hater on this guy because I've thought from day one he shouldn't start, wouldn't start, and I've been on his game. Listen here, buddy, you're a 5-star player. You're the number 2 player in the class according to some people's rankings.
Right.
I'm not seeing that, and the people that think this is all Roy Williams' fault, if he would have earned the right to start, wouldn't he start because he started Kobe White?
Okay, once again, let me stress this as well. Starting doesn't mean anything.
Well, I'm just saying, to some of these people...
Oh, no, that's not to you, but I'm saying to people. Starting doesn't mean anything at all. It means absolutely nothing. Literally, the most random example that came to my head as I was just sitting here. Chris Birdman Anderson used to start on the Miami's final teams in Miami. You're telling me that he was one of the 5 best players on that basketball team at that time? No. Starting doesn't mean anything. Look at the number of minutes that he plays. He plays 19 minutes a game. And to me, I'm not seeing a guy that's been overly effective, especially against the bigger opponents.
Right. And, I tweet about it. We talk about it. I write about it. He's got to be more aggressive driving the ball. And I thought tonight he was more aggressive in terms of driving the ball. But then the problem was he got soft and he when you've got the physical stature that he has,
lean in and draw the foul. Don't try to lean away from the basket.
You want to invite the contact, absorb it, and wear down the defender.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like he has no problem getting to the contact, but once it's that mesh point where contact's going to get made, he's going to throw up some bad shots. The ref ain't going to bail you out, and then we're getting run-outs the other way. So, I know there was an article that was written this week by Bleacher Report about him coming to North Carolina, and understand that it would be harder for him to get where he wants to get to because he knew he was going to get coached. So I don't think Nazir, questioning coming here and this, that, and the other. I just
Yeah,
think,
you show me that sword. You show me the actual quote from Nazir Little where he says, yeah, I don't know if I made the right decision. It doesn't exist.
I
So
just think we needed to step back and look. It's not. Could Roy Williams maybe do some things here and there to make him more productive on the court? Yeah, but I also think he's tried it. You just simply haven't gotten the results you wanted. But also, he's still a freshman. And Harrison Barnes, as a freshman, didn't start out very well.
Yep.
But come conference play, he hit 2-game winners and then dropped 40 in the tournament game and led the team to the Elite Eight. So there's still plenty of time for us to just let him grow. Maybe he goes home, gets around his family for a little bit, gets his spirits back up, and he gets back to playing the way he's capable of playing. This is also kind of proving into my theory that he could very well come back because his play is not to the level we thought or expected it would be coming into the season. But we'll get to that later in the year.
one last point that I want to bring up about this also. There was an article written by, I can't remember who it was, about the reasons that Garrison Brooks is still a starter. And I mean, I don't understand why people think that Garrison Brooks is this terrible player. I mean, from everything that I've seen from him, I mean, the guy's playing pretty great basketball at the position. And look at tonight. When he got in foul trouble, inside, we were getting destroyed. So, he's a crucial part of this team. I don't think people realize that if you lose him, you're losing your second leading rebounder because you're putting him on the bench. You're losing your leading block guy. Now, that's not really saying a whole lot because he's averaging, not even one block a game. But at the same time, look, there's nothing that Garrison Brooks has shown to this point that says, okay, he has no reason to be starting. I think he's been effective when he's been out there on the floor, for the most part. He's had some times where he struggled, but so is Nazir, and that's my thing. If I could understand where the frustration would come from, if Little was going out there and just literally dominating everybody. That is simply not happening, and it's like you said, that's okay that that's not happening. It takes time to adjust for some guys. And again, look, star ratings, I'm going to tell you what that means at the college level. Once you step on that floor, that means nothing. And that's, look, when Roy's comfortable with the way he's going to play in the offense, the way he's going to play defensively, because let's be real honest, he hasn't played great defensively either, then he'll be out there. As of right now, he's playing almost 20 minutes a game. I'm not going to complain.
Right. All right, so we're gonna move into shutting this thing down. I want to thank all you guys that did interact with us on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get a little bit more interactive with you guys. We are going to start doing some Periscope stuff at halftime games that we are hanging out and watching.
Mm-hmm. Today,
Today, we just decided not to because it wasn't going to be pretty. I wasn't happy. He wasn't happy. So next week, I think it's Davidson. We'll get that fired. Hopefully, y'all guys, interact with us. As always, we're going to get this on Facebook and Twitter, and it's up on iHeartRadio, I believe. We're still waiting to hear back from iTunes. You can always subscribe to Spreaker. That's the easiest place to go to. Encourage you guys to check out my blog. I'll have a recap of this game up probably tomorrow. And I also got a Tar Heel wish list for Santa, written up that I'll post out as well. And I want to thank you guys for listening. And I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. And go Tar Heels.